We're about to go live. About to go live. We're getting ready to go live with the best man. All right, now let's come on. Leroy Mckenzie Jr. What's good?
What's happening?
Do we have a laugh? I don't know. This is live, so I don't know if we have a lapse.
No.
Or whatnot.
No, I'm here. I'm here to see you. You good?
Okay. All right. So as always, I'm going to share it to Facebook, and then you can do that. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of More Than Just a Movie. All right, let's see. Best man. All right, I just put it on if you want to share it so we can get this party started.
Okay.
So Leroy, people are loving the show. I'm getting a lot of feedback. Are you getting feedback?
That's what I was going to ask you too. If that's what I was going to ask you as well, is if you were getting feedback about the show and everything like that.
Yes, everybody thinks it's a good idea. They said we have good chemistry. And I'm like, y'all got to put that on the YouTube. Y'all can't just watch it.
Exactly.
Y'all got to put that in the comments. So everyone,
like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Exactly. And some people's like, oh, I watched it, I didn't subscribe. I'm like, subscribe, because that's how your life gets logged. You got to subscribe, like, and share. If you love what you see on this channel, especially this show, More Than Just a Movie, please leave a comment for Leroy and I, because we read them. We like to see what you all think, because Leroy and I have a good time. We want to make sure you're having a good time. Leroy and I talk about, movies and stuff like that. So we want to know what you think about this show. So I'm excited, Leroy. Welcome to More Than Just a Movie. I am Kendell Lenice. That is my co-host, Leroy Mckenzie Jr. We talk about Black classic films. It's the breakdown, what we think about the classic films. And as always, it will be a spoiler alert, right? Because we feel that in 22 years, you should have seen this movie. If you haven't, now understand if you're young.
Well.
Right. My daughter is 22 and she's seen it. So I can't even say if you're younger, but if you're younger and you haven't seen it, that's fine. Go watch the movie and then come back and watch this, or watch this first and look out for the scenes that we talk about. But most importantly, y'all, please subscribe below and like and share this video. All right, you ready to go? Move to the side so they can see what's going on. They can see what's going on behind you.
You know what? And I don't know what's going on with this with my screen here. If you can see that right there on the other side, right there. I don't know what that is. What's going on behind me? But anyway, it messed up the poster. But that's the best man poster.
That's all right.
Of course, you can't see the whole thing, but
right.
And everything. But I think those of us that know the movie know who these folks are right here.
Yes. And I got some of the soundtracks playing in the background. Let's not play the game. We're going to talk about the soundtrack. We do not own the rights to this music, just to let you know. All right. So this is episode 4. If you missed Love Jones, Love and Basketball, and Boomerang, you can catch them right here, as well as this episode 4. All right, let's get right to it. We're talking about the movie The Best Man, which premiered in the movie theaters October 22nd, 1999, directed and written by Malcolm D. Lee, Spike Lee's little cousin. Spike Lee was one of the producers on this as well. So he wrote this movie, and I remember watching BET, I don't want to say BET, TV1 Unsung, which is one of my absolute favorite shows. And I remember him talking about Malcolm D. Lee, how he was coming up with the movie and he had different ideas. And then he stuck with this and really talking about this is a life film. It's not just a Black film. It's a film that everyone can relate to with Black characters. And he went down the line on why he chose who he chose. So if you all haven't seen, and I don't know if it's still available for on demand, but if you haven't seen Unsung, The Best Man, you guys gotta watch that. I remember watching that. But all right, so let's see. Morris Chestnut, Sanaa Lathan, my girl, Taye Diggs, Melissa DeSouza, I want to make sure I say it right. Terrence Howard, Harold Perrineau, who else? Regina Hall. This was Regina Hall's first movie ever.
Was it?
And she was a teacher. Yep, this was her first movie ever. And I remember her talking about she never stripped, never went to a strip club. She had to learn how to do that. So imagine your first time on screen and you're this educated college graduate and your parents see you up there like, and but everybody just knew she was cute. And then Monica Calhoun, who played Mia, and also Victoria Dillard, for those that know who she is. She played Jordan's boss, Nia Long's boss. So many amazing people in this movie. So as always, I always say, I remember when I saw this movie at the movie theater. This is the first movie that I don't remember who I saw it with, but I did see it in the movie theater. Who did I know? I'm not even going to ask you this week.
Don't even ask. I went to the movies. That's all I know.
So do you remember when Best Man first came out, the trailer they were showing that poker scene where Terrence Howard kept saying, "In what world?" Do you remember that?
Yeah. That and that was probably, and what I'm thinking, that was probably, to me, one of the scenes that sticks out, of course, in the movies. So so definitely, they know how to put the teasers out there with the trailer.
Right,
so.
right. And we are going to talk about that classic poker scene. I just want to say, so when the movie came out, my youngest daughter was like 10 months old, 11 months old. I remember when it came to VHS, yes, VHS. So let me back up. So my mom kept telling me, this lady keeps saying, my daughter looks like this girl in The Best Man. My daughter looks like this girl in The Best Man. And she was like, she don't look like my daughter. Like my mom never saw Sanaa Lathan. And she was like, she don't look like my daughter type thing, right? So I had it on VHS. And I remember my youngest daughter being little. I put it in the VCR, young folks, the VCR. And I put it on. And my mom,
they like, what is a VC? They like, what is a VCR?
Right. And my mom was like, oh my goodness, y'all do look alike. Because your mom was ready to be like, no, you don't. But the kicker was, Leroy, I kid you not, my youngest daughter walking up to the screen going, mommy.
Wow.
And people have said I looked like her, beautiful Sanaa Lathan. But Best Man is the only thing that I saw, or the first thing that I saw. And I was like, wow, especially in the scene and the way she wore her hair in the scene with her and Taye Diggs, and they were in the kitchen and she was cooking and she was moving and she hit that profile back then in 1999 when my face was slenderized, her face was slenderized. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like it was so weird. And my brother was telling me and all of these people. So y'all already know how I love Sanaa Lathan. All right. So tell me, Leroy, well, let's talk like as we always do. Let's start with the soundtrack.
Now, actually, that was a pretty good soundtrack. It wasn't one of those that stuck out to me. You know what I mean? Like Loving Basketball. I still listen to that soundtrack to this day. That soundtrack is the bomb.
Now let me refresh your memory though. I remember The Best Man I Can Be, that song with Genuine, Tyrese, Case, and RL from Next. But let me tell you all the people who were on that soundtrack. The Roots, Maxwell, Eric Benet, Lauryn Hill, Faith Evans, Latasha Scott from Xscape, Kenny Lattimore, the group Allure, and I believe a young Beyonce, I believe. Let's see. Because let's see. Yes. That song, After All Is Said and Done, with Beyonce and Mark Nelson. Remember where Mia walked to Lance when they were getting married and he was having those flashbacks. So that was a pretty hot soundtrack. All right.
Yeah, that's a lot of great artists.
Yeah. So when you think about The Best Man, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Honestly, I honestly think about not just the movie, but I think of how Terrence Howard stood out in this movie. He took over this movie. Quentin. He wasn't the main character or anything, but just to me, his performance in taking on the character of Quentin was just I came away from the movie was like, dang, who, Terrence Howard, he in this movie. Everybody else was good and everything. It was something about the way that that arrogant, here we go again. It's that group where your group of friends and everything. Like he was that one dude that nobody could stand in the group, or was always doing something to make everybody mad or something like that, or doing something conniving. So that's what I think about when I first think about The Best Man.
And it's interesting that you're mentioning Terrence Howard. Everybody know that boy can act. Yeah. Just act. He can act. And he's been acting since he was a child. And when I think about Quentin, Terrence Howard's character, he was the realest of the real. Like he was giving it to you straight, no chaser. He wasn't fall at him, and he was straight to the point. So there was tension. Let's talk about there was tension between Quentin and Harper. So for those that haven't seen the movie is about the best man, which is Taye Diggs, and he plays Harper. He is an author coming out with, or soon to be author, coming out with a novel. But all of these the group of friends, Robin is Lathan. She is Harper's girlfriend. Everyone else went to college together. So the whole movie is based on Lance is now an NFL player going to the NFL. Oh, no, he is in the NFL. Yeah, so he's a football player. And Harper is trying to become an author. So he writes this book called Unfinished Business. And it's basically on how part of it is how he's Monica Calhoun, Mia's character, which is the fiance of his friend. He's the best. So the poker scene, and I'm just trying to set up for the people that didn't see it, the poker scene, it comes out that Lance, Morris Chestnut, thinks that Mia is a virgin, right? And she only has, and he says, marriage curbs the appetite for more women. Marriage is the cure of promiscuity. And then that's where that famous line comes from with Terrence Howard that says, in what world? So as a man, let's talk about that scene and the significance of that scene. Between you and I, you're the only man here, right? So when you think about that scene, I know it's a delay. So when you think about that scene as a guy, was that something real? Was that stuff that men talk about, like having sex with other women and, those type of conversations? Because they got raw with it.
Yeah, it is a that is a a reality or a real conversation that I think that men have had, do have, or and especially when you have brothers who knew each other the way that they all knew each other, and even um, Quentin, Terrence Howard's character, them, it was kind of almost like the same banter that from Love Jones that Lorenz Tate and Bill Bellamy's character had. It's that machismo, men bravado, like, yeah, I got something on you, but you really, I really, we're gonna have it, we're gonna have this little battle or whatever and stuff like that. And so it is. Those conversations are ones that are real. Um, I think that the um, and actually the verbiage that they when they talk, Morris Chestnut's character wanting to believe that his fiance and soon to be wife, the only man that she ever slept with him, when and I think when I think about that statement, most men can't handle even their the thought of their ex-girlfriend sleeping or being with somebody else. They don't even
Really?
think. Yeah, absolutely. There's not, and there may be some men that get mad or fuss or whatever, be like, nah, that ain't true. But I promise you, there's not too many men, if any, that will be honest about imagine or even thinking of their ex-girlfriend being involved with another man other than them. They
So
just
they don't want to even think
they
about
only
it.
want to entertain the thought. They only want to entertain the thought. So
Yeah.
him thinking that he was the only one, because that was one of the questions. Do you really think, with all of the all the dirt that he had, all the dirt that he had done, and all of the running around, that you really think that you're the only one that Monica Calhoun's character that you slept
Mia.
that you slept with, and then he got mad
Mhm.
because he was like, well, how do you know that she didn't? He's like, you dipping and dodging, and she don't know. What makes you think that she hadn't dipped and dodged and you didn't know? And he was like, you know, because of what he said. I ain't gonna say what he said on here,
Right. Right.
but but he was
He
like,
said something. He talked about something curved into something.
right. He's like,
Y'all gotta watch it. But he's So figure
right,
it out.
right. But that was him, being like, no, there ain't nobody else that would even, begin to even think about her even thinking about being with, because I was her all in all, was what he was thinking. But in
Right.
actuality, he wasn't. You know what I'm saying? He
Right.
wasn't. So that scene, to me, that was one of the best scenes in the movie to me. I love
Yeah.
that car table scene because it was
That
just like,
was,
yeah.
and also, and to me, with Taye Diggs' character Harper, it was like, and when he was saying, "Oh yeah, that fool is da da da," and Terrence Howard, and I believe at that time in the movie, we didn't know everything
Right,
that went
right,
down. So we're
right.
like, why is Terrence Howard like
Looking at him.
looking at him like, oh, really? Like he got something over his head. And then Harper is so oblivious or forgetting that he knows, or I'm not sure if he thinks he knows what he knows. But Terrence Howard is like, it almost looks like he's like, okay, I'm gonna hold that in the pocket, keep talking, and one day it's gonna come out. Because when you're dealing with somebody that's all the way live and all the way real like that, like Terrence Howard's character, they think it's a wild card, but he is like brutally honest. And we all know someone like that, who's say it like they say it, mean it like they mean it, and they're honest with what they say. So I'm going to touch on Terrence Howard, something else since we were on him. So do you think how he has an issue, Terrence Howard's character, Quentin, has an issue with women, his friends say, because of his mom not being there, and he calls women bees and saying stuff like that, that he has an issue with women because his mom left the family. What do you think about that?
I can agree with that, because a lot of times for both young boys and young girls, the first imagery and the first of our first impressions of males and females are, of course, our parents. So the way that they that we grow up, the way that they treat us, the way that they're there for us, we take that into our adulthood. You got folks to this day that still haven't gotten over or dealt with their hurt from their parents, whether it's their mother or their father.
Facts.
Still can't get over it. And they have issues with their relationships because of that very thing, not being able to deal with it. So I can definitely agree with that, agree with that statement, where I could see that Quentin would have. That's why he has the issues that he had with, with females.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Harper and Robin. So we're talking about Taye Diggs and Sanaa Lathan. So Harper and Robin go together, right? And Robin is a whimsical type of woman. One day she's a chef, one day she's an artist, one day. So that's the running joke, like, baby, what are you doing now? And then her friends are like, oh, your girlfriend, I thought she was a this. And he's like, no, she's a cook now, So she's that whimsical, and they're together in a relationship, but she knows that, or she thinks she knows that he had some type of love affair or affection for Jordan, which was Nia Long. So the whole movie is about getting together for Lance and Mia's wedding. So all the college friends come back together. So Robin is the only one that didn't go to college with them, and they're in the bathtub, and they're going together, and she wants to know about their future. So he kind of gets up out the tub like, I don't want to talk about that. Like, do you think that he is afraid to commit, or do you think he still got a love Jones for Jordan? What you think?
I honestly, no, I think that one was actually, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it was both, because him and the Weeknd, and I'm sure we'll get to it, that when they go to, when everybody meets up, what him and Nia Long's character were going to be doing, showed that he still had feelings. And I think when you have that one that you feel like got away, and you're still connected to them, you always kind of have that what if type. Can it work out, or is there still always, especially if, like I said, if you stay connected in some kind of way, and with this group, they were, I think they still kept in touch with each other, not as much as they did, how much as they have or whatever, but this wedding gave them the opportunity to actually to reconnect. So I think it was a little bit of both. I think he wasn't ready to fully commit to Sanaa Lathan's character, because remember them riding in the car, and he was like, oh, here comes the drama, so here he is, afraid of getting involved in a relationship. Relationship is without drama. It's a part of the relationship. So him expecting relationship.
You there? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yes, and it wasn't drama. No, it wasn't drama. I'm sorry. My one of my lights fell. So earlier, right before we started. So if I'm a little dark, everyone, I apologize. But
you good.
It fell back that way, but I'm not even going to get up. The show must go on. Y'all can hear me. That's all that matters. Because it right before, and then I'm looking at the
plenty of light.
Okay. All right, good. But yeah, I agree with that. And then it's almost like he's making an excuse because he is afraid to commit. And he's like, there's the drama. And she wasn't even given drama. And as a woman, sometimes men do say that, and I think it's unfair that they say, oh, here comes the drama, if you're expressing how you feel, or if they're not ready to hear it. Is that, do you think that's the case sometimes?
Yeah, I do, and I also think that people, and I'll get your take on this. I think people sometimes, unfortunately, go into relationships expecting for something to go wrong. They're
Mm,
waiting for the ball to drop. Okay,
mm-hmm,
I'm waiting for him to mess up. I'm waiting for
mm-hmm.
her to mess up. You know, just having that negative mindset about the relationship as opposed to going into the relationship and
Yeah,
accepting it for what it is. And
yeah.
I mean, and maybe I don't know how you feel about it, but the way that I am, I trust people until you give me reason not to trust you.
Me too. Me
You
too.
know, you know,
Yep.
that's just me. Whether it's relationships or whether it's just friendships, any kind,
Yeah.
and in business as well. I'll
Yeah.
trust you until you give me reason not to. Now you give me a
Yep.
reason not to trust you, then hey, you built up that
Right.
that reason for me not to trust you, and not to think of, not to trust anything that you may say to me. I don't
Right.
I won't I won't count on you doing what you say you're gonna do. Unfortunately, I won't depend on you to to do what you say you're going to do. All those things, and eventually, if it comes too many times where I really feel I can't trust you, then hey, that friendship, that
Right.
relationship is done.
It's
Because
done. Done
why would you want
data.
to be with yeah? Why would you want to be around or be with someone that you can't trust? That's just
Right.
on that they what's the name? Lorenz Tate character said it in Lovejoy. Why would you want to be somebody that you don't trust, whether it's business
Yep.
or anything else? So
Yep.
you don't want to be with somebody that you can't that you can't trust and that you can't believe in their word and what they tell you.
That's right. And speaking of trust, we talked about the dynamic with Robin and Harper. Let's talk
Mm,
about Jordan and Harper. So Jordan
mm.
and Harper, they think it's a secret that they almost hooked up in college, but um, Harold Perrineau, he kind of spilled the beans and said, but everybody knew, but they didn't tell him because they
Well,
knew he couldn't
well,
keep a secret.
he didn't
He
know,
couldn't keep a secret.
but
No.
see, the thing is, if you did, my whole premise for the whole movie was, if you didn't want somebody to know about them hooking up in college, and really they didn't hook up in college.
They
Why would you?
almost.
They almost hooked up in college. Why would you? Why would you? Well, and who he hooked up with wasn't wasn't surprised that
Right.
that everybody thought was and everything like that. Why would you put it in a book?
Right.
Why would
But
you write
that's the
about it and then
right.
expect people not to know?
That's the thing. That's the thing. So he tells all his business that he slept with his best
Yeah.
friend's wife, soon to be wife, in college. And see, the thing was, he
Well,
thought that the book was going to come out after the wedding. But Jordan, being a
yeah, but
journalist, got a preview copy. So the whole movie is like, you got the book. He read my book. She read my book. Everybody's like, your book, your book, your book. And then Jordan starts reading the book and says, like, wait a minute, because
right,
you almost slept with me, but you've never slept with me. So this is not me. And put it
right.
together and said, you slept with Mia. Why would you put it in the book? So they have that. They almost got together. So they had that kind of push pull. Let's see if it's too late. Let's see if we want to explore this. Um, and that's why I think that he left Robin behind a couple of days until he kind of sorted that out. What do you think?
And I agree with that. I think he wanted to. I think he was trying to figure out whether or not him and Neil Long's character were going to be able
Mm-hmm.
to rekindle what they had. Now I don't think it gives a like a how long between when they had been in college and then now when
Mm-hmm.
he was getting married. I don't know what that time
Mm-hmm.
frame was,
Mm-hmm.
but they were into their careers. So it had to be several years that that they had been
I think
out of
it was like a
college.
good solid 10 years. It
Yeah,
seemed like
something like
about a
that. It
good
was
10,
Yeah, because they were well into their careers and everything like that. So he wanted to find out, like I said, he wanted to find out if one he got away was really the one. So they had already, I guess, talked about them hooking up for the weekend, and everything like that for the weekend to be able to, and stuff. So they did want to see what was, if there was anything there, if there was anything still there from where they had started and weren't able to finish in college. The thing is, I don't understand why didn't they finish in college? I'm trying to figure
because the
out.
records start. Remember when they start playing "As" by Stevie Wonder, and the records start skipping when they had the flashback. Maybe they just got caught off track. The flashback came. Stevie Wonder was coming, and maybe something happened. Somebody dropped something. They jumped because remember they showed the flashback and the record started skipping. The Stevie Wonder record, "As." Remember they showed, and then they just. You saying they could have picked up where they left off?
I'm sorry, but no. You gonna let a record skipping stop you from being with somebody that you wanted to be with?
Right.
Come on, I know it's Stevie and everything, but Stevie ain't stopping me from being with somebody that I want to be with. But it wouldn't be a movie though if it did that though. But I'm just saying,
Stevie Wonder couldn't
I love.
Right.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite Stevie Wonder song too.
And they talked about and they talked about them sleeping in the bed all the time, but never having sex, which leads me to one of my favorite scenes in the movie that I found out was ad-libbed. It was ad-libbed by Nia Long. So when Harper and Jordan, when they plan, and I know we go out of sync in this movie, go out of scenes. We go with the flow of what we're saying and we jump on that way. So if you're just tuning in for the first time. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to when Lance found out about what was going down in that book and what he thought about his wife. But after that, I want to talk about my favorite scene where, since we're talking about them getting together, where Harper comes to Jordan's house and she's waiting. She got her little Asian inspired outfit on, her little cute, short haircut. She's coming through as Nia Long does, and she answers the door and is
Nia Long was looking,
shout out,
Nia Long looking coming to the door.
Right, coming to the door, looking like she's smelling good, like ready for some action. And she opens the door and sees homeboy with a black eye at the door. So automatically her little high comes down, and she's like, Lance found out, didn't he? So then he's like, it's because of your A and da. But my favorite line is when she says, my hormones are raging and I don't want to hear about no goddamn peas. That was ad-lib. She said, it wasn't even in the script. She said that's how she's feeling. And then she says, and good night. But she's saying, telling him.
And even...
Go ahead.
Yeah, but even, I don't know if you saw, it was one interview that Taye Diggs did. In that scene when she hits him, she
really hit him.
She really hit him. And he was like, I'm never doing another movie with Nia Long. He was joking, of course.
That was on Unsung. That was on Unsung.
Was it Unsung? Yeah. But he said, she really hit him in that scene.
Because he said he was like, I'm a professional, and that's not how we go. I will never work with her again.
that was a great scene.
But that goes in line with she ad-libbed that, so she probably was feeling something else about somebody else, and she blocked them.
Right.
She was so, and then of course they still never get together. They never sleep together still. And she was ready and they were ready, so they were hitting or missing. So that was off a little bit. So then, and Robin already, when she sees her, she's already kind of, That's just like if a woman is going to act two ways. So if she sees her ex's ex or her ex's potential love interest, then she's going to be like, oh, whatever, or she's going to get bothered. And it depends on the status of how her relationship is going down. So if her and Harper were tighter, then it probably wouldn't have bothered her. But since Harper was still reserved and still like, I don't know type thing, and jumped out the tub, that's what makes her a little concerned as a woman. All right, so let's talk about Harold. Let's talk about Shelby. So Melissa DeSosa and Harold Perrineau.
She played that role.
They said when she auditioned for it, other people auditioned, but she came in with that whole persona and it worked. Like, they probably give you a couple of lines she's good.
She definitely did. Yeah, she was definitely made for Shelby because she carried that character. Like I said, her character and Terrence Howard's character, to me, Quincy, they were so and I don't know, I can't speak as a female, you can, but there's always that one in the group out of the friends that everybody, for whatever reason, you just be like, they get on your last nerve, but you still allow them to be in the group. They still around.
Yeah, they still in the group.
You can't stand them.
Yep. But you see how they was like, hi, Shelby.
Yeah,
they never said don't bring her around. They got history. Right. They just know that's how that girl is. They be laughing or ignore it.
Right.
Even when we had the sequel, The Best Man Howland, you can still see they loved her, but it's almost like they accepted Shelby and Quentin for who they were.
Yeah.
In their friend group.
Yeah.
Like she was a little bougie. She was a little like dramatic, if you will, like faking crying and all of that. And she had him, what's his name? Zeke. What was the name? Harold's character. It was Zeke Street. What was that? I'll tell you in a second.
I'll find out. But Harold Perrineau liked him too. He was there.
Julian.
He was that. That's it. Right.
Julian.
Right. Yeah, he was.
See, because Julian was.
It was
Julian.
Just like
No, go ahead. It's a lapse. Go ahead.
All right. I'm just going to ask: would Julian considered today as a simp?
As a what?
As a simp. What? As what they call a simp, as they call them these days.
He was like a pushover for his woman.
Right. Would he be considered as a simp?
Because they had been going together since college. They just had that dynamic that they had. That's, I'll pout and you'll do what I want. And, you're my girl from college. And these are our roles and then of course, Terrence Howard's character is like, man up, everybody like man up merch. That's what I was trying to think of, merch. Everybody like man up merch. You know what I'm saying? And then, stick up for it, stick your chest out. And then the first time he does that, Shelby's like, what? And she tries to fake crying and then it works. And all his friends are like, all right, y'all, we see you because this is the routine. We want you to come. She don't want to come. And then she acts out and y'all go. So, all right, y'all. And then when she says the gang's back all in effect, when she pulls her glasses down, she's like, Langston Hughes. What she saying? Snooze. Langston Snooze.
Langston Snooze. She called, who else did she have a nickname for?
It was still like she was just talking about them and I think Morris Chestnut, but she was mainly talking to Harper.
Right.
That's who
Right.
really, and
Right.
she was talking, you know, of course, her and Terrence Howard's character, you
Right.
know, had that whole, because he wasn't having the foolishness and
Yeah.
she knew it. Everybody else was like ignoring her. He was the only one that pretty much called her on her stuff. And he was the one that was in Murch's ear, you know,
All right.
Julian, he was in his ear. But
And
then when it turned, huh?
let me ask you this. Okay. Quentin's character and Murch, her and the Harold, you have two dynamics. They're at the two opposite ends spectrum. One is way too nice, and the other one is just probably from you all standard of butthead. Which one? Which one do you think that most women would go for or do go for? That Terrence Howard character, Quentin,
The jerk,
or and be
the
real.
jerk,
That, I'm putting you on.
the jerk.
And why is that? And why is that? Because
First
you
of
saw
all,
Shelby
I don't
did
want,
too. Because she,
right. Because first of all, I don't want no jerk. I really don't. But I don't want no pushover either. I need you to be able to handle yourself like a man. But then go to the, now we can go back to the White House, but know how to go to the White House. I need you to make sure you tell me when I'm wrong, but then I also want you to be sensitive. You know, so I think with women, we want both, but sometimes it, you know, in this case, it's just one or the other. And I think that they just got accustomed to it. And that was the role that Shelby and Murch played. But I honestly don't think neither one of them even wanted it anymore. And then you go in relationships and it just stays the way it is. And then when Terrence Howard, that was kind of intriguing her, even though she quote unquote hated him, that was intriguing her for her, you know, to step up, as we saw at the end of the movie and in The Best Man Holiday, which was 20 years later. All right, so let's talk about the scene, the bachelor party. Did you freeze it? I'll let you take over. So what had happened in the bachelor party? You break that down, Leroy. When Candy walks in.
Let's go just before the bachelor.
Okay.
Let's go a little bit with trying to get Murch to not go
in the street
to the bachelor party. And she thought her, well, just go, in the street, and like, well, just go then, and party, you know. So he finally stands up to Shelby and goes and this time decides.
I'm not sure if we're still there. All right. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but go ahead.
Can you hear me?
This is good. Yep, I can hear you perfectly now.
So, so when they get to the bachelor party, of course, it's, you know, the cops come in and it's like, hey, it's on like popcorn, and then you see the pimp come in with his ladies. That,
do you know those ladies were from Baltimore, Leroy?
Evening. Funny story.
Did you know that the ladies were from Baltimore? Yup, except of course Regina Hall, but those ladies were, and the guy, yup, because people were talking about it. I remember it. And I was like, really?
And I'll tell you a funny story. Funny, maybe funny, but one of my close friends, we knew each other from college, and we were actually roommates in college. He that type of thing where he to bring the women, that was him.
It's always
that was him. Yeah. So But the bachelor party, of course, goes off, and you got the women dancing and the guys, and it's a typical bachelor party. You know what I'm saying? You got the drinking, you got the women dancing, and everything like that. And they this is where it got interesting. This is where um, uh, uh, Morris Chestnut's character starts to look at Lance starts to look at his best friend and best
Harper.
man a little different because he sits, of course, Lance sits down and he gets his, bachelor, bachelor dance. I'll call it that. His bachelor dance.
His
And then
hot dance.
Gets his dance, and then he takes the ladies and says, I want you to, handle, take care of my husband. So Harper takes his jacket off, which is where his book is. Now, mind you, he had just gotten the book. He got the book because that's when Lance was starting to read all of it. I think he read, maybe a little bit of it. So he hadn't gotten into all of the other of it. So when Harper got the book, he put it in his jacket pocket. So when he's at the party, he takes the jacket off, and they toss it, and it falls out. So Lance starts to look at the book. He's like, well, why is he taking the, why did he take the book? So he takes the book, goes into the bathroom, and starts to read a little more. So he starts to read a little back further and everything like that. And of course, he reads the part about the part of them sleeping, I guess Harper and Mia sleeping together. He puts two and two together, where they start,
which Jordan said he would. Right. Go ahead.
Right, exactly. They were going to figure it out because they all knew each other and they knew the story. So he knew, and of course, Lance knew that him and Jordan never slept together. So if it was Jordan that you slept with, and you got this other character that is only two women that was in that crew, so,
right?
And you didn't.
Because Shelby was already over there. So, wasn't Shelby?
Yeah, he knew it. Yeah, it was three of them, and he knew it wasn't Shelby. So that wasn't gonna happen. So he gets angry, comes out of the bathroom, and proceeds to whooping Harpo's tail and giving him the black eye, which you talked about when he goes to see Nia Long's character, Jordan, at her hotel or whatever, and everything like that. So, and he's getting ready to throw him off the balcony.
Like he looked, but look,
and of course,
didn't he look like he was really? Didn't that look real? Like he looked like Morris Chestnut played that. Lance looked like he was really about to throw Harper over that.
Yeah, or him over that.
But who comes to Harper, even though he's mad and enraged and he feels a certain way about Harper? Who saves Harper's behind?
Exactly. Quentin comes and says, "Come on, Elle, now, baby. In his charismatic character that he was, you really gonna do this?" And he was like, "Do you really want to do this? Do you really want to throw your career away over this?" He was like, "You got a beautiful woman, that you about to marry. She loves you, only you. You don't want to do this." And so he kind of starts to think and understands that, hey, no, it ain't worth it. But then he proceeds to call the wedding off. Say, you know what, everybody out, the wedding is off. He kick everybody out the penthouse.
Right. Because he was reading that whole, and I love the way that Malcolm D. Lee did that, and we'll talk about the wedding too, but how they filmed it, and it was kind of dark, and he looked like he was enraged, and the thoughts that were going through, his mind as he was reading that. But as soon as Harper threw his jacket, because he was all drunk at the bachelor party, I said, oh, snap.
Yep.
It's about to go down. And he grabbed that book because what, like you said, what made him think about it was like, wait a minute, I know I was just reading that book. So he knew I wasn't done. You know, why did he take the book and put it in his jacket? Like that was suspect. And because he was so drunk that he didn't even realize he did that. See, the thing was, Harper was trying to be slick, like Quentin said, because the book wasn't supposed to be out, but Jordan got the book out and she gave it to this person and that person. And she passed it around. They were trying to do a segment on him for BET in the movie and everything. And he thought, and like, I'm with you, like, if these are still your friends and you know this was a secret that you had for a decade or so, why even interrupt the friendship? Why interrupt their relationship? And just let him think, if he think that's the only one she slept with, and you know, and she didn't tell him, the past is the past, because then it creates the tension that stayed within the movie.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, that's one of them things that you take to the grave.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, you take that to the grave, because like you said, even if the book came out after they got married, who's to say that they find out or that he finds out? And it's like, y'all didn't tell me this all along, that you let me marry her, you know, and you married me knowing that you had slept with my best friend. That could have even been a scenario where he did find out after the wedding, and then they get divorced anyway. They wind up
you got
divorced,
a point.
So
you got a point.
You know,
it's better to find. You got a point, because if it's going to come out after the book comes out, it's better that it comes out before they're married. That way he can make an informed decision. So let's talk about Mia. Mia was just casual with it. Mia was like, you know, it happens, and it was like she was just for real with it.
But isn't that it? All right, I'm gonna ask you this question. But isn't that how some women would have acted though? Because remember in Eddie Murphy's Raw, when he talked about women, how he was like, y'all are sneaky with it, sneaky with it. Where y'all were like, I'm just gonna go down to the Bahamas with my girlfriends, and she gonna get it in while she down there. And he thinking about all the women that he can be with while they up here, but she down there getting it in too.
And he ain't think about that.
But I think she was not nonchalant about it, but I guess that goes to show the difference sometimes between men and women and how you all see things. Because I think she genuinely cared for Harper. She genuinely cared for Harper. That was somebody that she held in high regard. It was, you know, she, and you can tell. Yeah, and even though,
because he said, I don't know why you love this food. Remember, even Lance said that.
Right. So there was a connection between Mia and Harper that was, you know, it was a friendship that went even beyond that one time that they slept together and everything like that. Because as you see, nothing came of them, you know, sleeping together. Because had that been something that was there, there probably would have been something that came out of them being together. You know,
it was the frustration of Lance cheating on her, you know, them working at the college paper together. She's trying to go out with Lance, he with some other woman, in that vulnerable space she was in that conversation, like not with intentions. Because even in the beginning, remember, he was like, yo, hook me up with her. Lance said that. And he was like, no, she's a good girl. Like, she ain't one of them that you can play over. So think about Harper knowing her and knowing that she was a good girl, and almost that low-key resentment for your friend. Like, you know, she's going after the player, the football player, and the player, you know, when all of these other good men. So almost that lapse of maybe maybe jealousy a little bit, or maybe he had a little bit of feelings for her. Because you know, sometimes you get feelings for someone when somebody else got feelings for them. You never noticed them. And then now someone else noticed them. You're like, yeah, they are kind of cute around the eyes, you know? You start thinking.
Kind of cute around the eyes.
You start noticing stuff that you didn't notice.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Because you know, when somebody else finds somebody fine, you'd be like, let me look at that face again. Let me see. Okay, look.
All right, let me ask you, is that something that is true about how women do men? Because some women don't start to find a man attractive until they see him with other women.
Yeah. Just like Sierra, people talk about Russell and Sierra. And they talk about him not looking cute before, he was whack or he was corny. Now everybody's like, dang, he kind of fine. So what's Sierra's prayer so I can get a Russell? But nobody was checking for him before, because then, truth be told, he was married to a white girl before Sierra, and she cheated on him. So sisters he wasn't even on sisters' radar until, like some people, if you weren't a football lover, until she got him. And then when she got him at first, they was like, who's this corny dude? You know, and then the more they saw him love her and treat her well and do stuff, they was like, oh, Sierra, can we have your prayer for a man like him? And sometimes they ain't checking for nobody until someone else. That's what happens. I remember my high school boyfriend. My high school boyfriend was corny. He played basketball. He was really, really, really smart. He played basketball for the team, and he was a little nerdy, if you said. And I remember when we started dating, and then even after, I remember more girls checking for him after.
All right, okay.
Even after when we were then when we turned into friends, like you could see like on the bus, because back then the cheerleaders, which I was, and the basketball players, we rode on the same cheese bus to get to the games back in the day. So then you would see it differently, and then you would see. And this one girl, I'm not going to say her name because my people where I grew up from, they know. This one girl who used to smell like subs, like her underarms used to smell like Italian subs after every game. I kid you not. And I'm not even going to say, because people know, like that was a thing. And I remember after we kind of broke up and we were just friends, and we're still friends to this day. We were friends. She would try to, you know, talk to him. And everybody be like, Subs, try and talk to your man. I'm like, that ain't my man, Subs.
Wow. But okay.
Nobody was checking for him. Like he got cooler or something.
But let me ask you this, because I need you to help a brother out and help the other brothers that's watching this out, okay? Because I don't like the term corny or nerdy. I just really don't. I think that's I think it's I call it disrespectful, because I understand that every guy isn't the same. Every guy isn't like a Terrence Howard or charismatic. You know, everybody's not charismatic and everything like that. But define for me, from a woman's, what you think a guy that's corny, what does that mean to you? And what does that mean to
So first I'll say he referred to himself as a nerd. So that was him. Like he referred to himself as a nerd. He was in the books, he was smart, but he wasn't a nerd, because technically when people say nerd, they're just wearing a pocket protector. He was a jock too. He was on the basketball team. He was good. So to me, he wasn't a nerd, but people looked at him as nerdy, and that's how he referred to himself, because he was quiet. He laid in a cut. He wasn't out there in every woman's face trying to holler, you know, all that. So people would think that that's corny, because you ain't out here got the latest this on and that on, and you ain't doing that. So that's what women then refer to as corny. Personally, I never thought he was corny or nerd, or you know what I mean, because that didn't deter me. But he called himself that. And corny, I'm saying not from my point of view, but other people looked at him, you know, as corny, because you're quiet. and you're chilled, and you might not have the latest sneakers that just came out 2 weeks ago. You might be, you know, rocking, you know, this, even though you're, you know, so that's what women would say. But I personally, Kendell, I don't feel that that's corny. You know, I don't feel that that's nerdy because you're intelligent or you're smart. But that's what he would be like, you know, I'm a, you know, nerd. So to me, certain words that you can use to empower, like I'm a nerd, because if you look at like Revenge of the Nerds, that movie from back in the day, right? They were nerdy. Like he wasn't. Like you can't be a nerd to me and you still a jock. Like you playing basketball, you know, you good with basketball, but then you're intelligent. You know, your future is bright. That's not a nerd. But I think that's what people like. Some people might say, yeah, I'm a nerd, meaning like I don't, you know, do this or I don't do that. They might refer to themselves as that. And corny might look at with someone else like they're not really. And I will say they're not on the radar of some people because loud. That I don't like that loud one. They got to be the star of the show. They got to be all in people's face. That's not I don't like that kind of dude.
All up in the videos, you know. but and the reason I ask you that because and I don't know if you know over the last several weeks when they were talking about Sierra, they were talking about Russell Wilson versus Future, where you know everybody knows that Sierra has a son by Future, and they were talking about, of course, calling Russell Wilson corny. I said, but to me, the corny dude is Future. No, the corny dude is Future because he has what six, seven kids by 8, 9 baby mamas and everything like that. To me, that's the corny dude because
I agree.
You're the one who's not taking responsibility for who you are, and here you have on the other end of that, the other spectrum of that, Russell.
Like Russell is a catch. He's not corny. He's a catch.
Right.
And then Future is somebody that you want to throw back and take him off your net and not catch it.
You know, so, and it just boggles my mind to hear people talk about them too, and then want to call call Russell Wilson.
But think about this. People always talk about Future and how many babies he has, right? And baby mamas. But what about that? What does that say about the woman, the next woman? So what happened to the second woman, the third woman, the fourth woman? You get what I'm saying?
I got one better for you. I don't know if you saw the episode, but Oprah Winfrey and Melania Van Zandt did an episode with this dude. He had.
I was there. I was on the show.
Oh, really? Are you serious? Stop playing.
With the 38 kids?
38 kids, 17 baby mamas.
I was on that show. So let me tell you. So Harper's studio, Oprah's studio owned, contacted me and asked me if I wanted to be, on Iyanla Fix My Life. That was like the second season, Iyanla Fix My Life, as a commentator. And would I virtually go live? This was before COVID, before virtual was a thing. Right. So they asked me to record my view and send it to OWN. And that's when I saw my face. First I heard my voice and I was like, I'm on. And I saw OWN down there. I was like, wow. They asked me to be a part, but it's so funny. It was that show because I was floored.
Wow.
38 kids.
Learn something new every day. But that, the guy that had, but like you said, it goes to what does that say about those women? Because, after
they want to stand in line to be the next one.
Yeah, after the second child, the third child, the fourth child, what do you, shouldn't you be asking yourself, is this somebody that I want to get involved with?
Right.
Because I'm quite sure one of the first questions that in futures, he's in the, in the entertainment industry. So folks know who he is and folks knew who he was and they knew who Sierra was and that and I don't know how far into his, I don't know if that was his first child, if Sierra's, their child was their first one, or if he had, See, so
Nope.
even Sierra should have been like, you know,
He
is
had
this
two,
somebody?
three, four. He had 2, 3, 4 before her, something like that. He had
Really?
more than one
See,
child before
okay,
her. Yeah,
before her. So even
yeah.
her should have said, you know what? Wait a minute, hold up. It's
Because
something
every woman thinks
about this.
they're the woman. Every
Mm,
woman thinks, oh, he ain't gonna do that to me. It's gonna
right.
stop here. He loved me. They think every woman thinks that they're better than the next woman when it really isn't the women at
Yeah.
all. It's the man. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Telling them or
Right.
whatever. But then it comes to a point where you got to be responsible. All right, we getting back to best man, y'all. But this is how we do.
Yeah.
You know, that's a part of that.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about that. So
Right.
let's go to, as you know, before we come to a close, let's go to the scene at the church.
That's what I was going to say when they try, everybody trying to find Lance.
When everybody,
I thought you knew where he was.
So let me back up one more before then. So Robin finally comes in town for the wedding, and she just rambling. Oh, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
And he's looking at her, and he's like, "Sit down." And she's like, "What?" So he tells her what happened and what he was about to do. So first she's stuck on like, you tried to sleep with Jordan, but she's trying to console him. And when he tells her that he canceled the wedding because of all of this drama that happened at the bachelor party, and you can see Robin in a dilemma. She wants to be there for her man, but she wants to smack him in the temple because she's like, what? You know, so he's like, well, she's like, you got to fix this. So he's like, how am I fix it? She's like, I don't know, but you got to fix it. So then they go to the church. That I love the scene where Robin and Jordan, and she looks, and then they double look like, oh, wait a minute, that's your man. Oh, that's your old, oh, what? And they do that women thing that we do. Like we acting like we ain't bothered, but we do a quick like.
Yep.
Because now this is the first time the person that Robin heard about is now there. So that's Jordan. So Lance pulls up with the car, right? You want to go from there? So Lance pulls up, and everybody's like, where's Lance? Where's Lance? Blah, 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 blah. And he pulls up, but let me say real quick, let me add this real quick, because people want to probably talk about this. When Murch finally leaves Shelby and he starts talking to Kende, the stripper, Regina Hall, and realize that she's trying to put herself through school. You know, she's a stripper with a heart of gold, and she's intelligent. And they just connect with Audre Lorde's poetry, and they talk about, they realize as adults they have a lot in common. So he's sick of Shelby's mess. He invites her to the wedding. So that's another look where she's like, who is this Pop-Tart? Shelby comes, and now she sees Regina Hall, and he's like, Shelby, I ain't dealing with you no more, blah, 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 blah. This is my date, Kende. And they're all on the stairs, and Lance pulls up in his clothes from last night. So what happens? Leroy? What happens when he pulls up?
They go to, you know, Robin goes to tell Harper, hey, there he is, you know, there's Lance that y'all looking for. And so they try to smooth things out by saying, you know, hey, Lance, you know, whatever. And he's like, you still here? Why you here? He said, I just came to tell my parents that the wedding is off. And so Quentin's character comes up again and says, you know, tries to be like, you know, you don't want Quentin's wedding. He's like, look, that mess ain't working. That mess ain't working today, you know. So get out my face, pretty much. And so Robin talks to Harper, and she's like, look, you got to do something. That's what you got to figure it out. And she says something that clicks to him about divine intervention. So Harper, as walking down the aisle, which is funny because you got Harold's character hanging on
Murch.
Murch hanging
That's
on.
Funny. That's funny. Now, Terrence Howard said he didn't want to do that. Terrence Howard said, you're going to make me look silly. I don't want to, it's not going to work. But that's a memorable scene.
Right, but it does make sense for Murch to do it, for Murch to be doing it, because of the personality and everything. So that did make sense, and I understood what he was saying about that, and that made sense. That actually made sense. So, Harper comes in as he's walking down the aisle, and he just says, Lance, pray, and he stops in his tracks because of
pray
the
with me, brother.
person. Yeah, he's like he's because he's a spiritual person. Lance is spiritual and everything like that. So they go into the pastor's study or whatever to have a conversation, and that's when it got real. So
I think Harper was trying to bring him to Christ to get him off his back.
He's like, well, the one that talks about. Say that again.
I think that he was saying, pray with me, brother, because he was trying to take him to Christ so he can get off his back.
Well, right. Yeah, absolutely. He didn't want that to happen. He didn't want that beat down again. That's what Lance said. He said, you want a little beat down? So they're in the midst of them talking in the Bibles in the study room. Lance comes to this reality that, hey, yeah, for all the dirt that I did, I couldn't have expected some of it, karma, to come back on me because of the way that I did. And he even said it. He said, I knew that, that I wasn't the only one. I just didn't expect it to be my best friend.
My best man.
Yeah, my best man. I didn't expect it to be my best man, which meant, look, you and I, we're the closest of friends. That's the bro code, That's the bro code. You pretty much broke the bro code.
There's no statute of limitation. It's forever. Like, you can't mess with him forever.
Right. That's
forever,
ever. Forever. Ever. Yeah, and he said, and even Harper's character, when he says, when Lance hems him up again, he said, you know what? He said, you can beat me up all you want to. He says, it's not going to change anything that has happened. He was like, that long time ago, your best friend slept with your, with your girlfriend. And it, it was something that happened, but she loves you. It was a one-time thing. It didn't happen again, but she loves you. She loves you and has loved you ever since. She's always loved you. You've been the one that she has loved.
Even then,
you can kind of take it. Yeah, even then, because Harper was the only other guy that she had ever slept with. From just from the story, you would take that he was the only other one, and that was one time.
Yeah,
everything else has been you. It's all about you.
Yeah,
and and they they decide to to go forward with the wedding. But that brings us to what you were talking about, the little flashbacks.
And her hair was all tethered, and she was like, "Woo!" I was like, "Good grief!" I said, but I love that part because we don't know what goes in someone else's mind. So he's standing there looking at his wife or his wife to be, as Beyonce and Mark Nelson sings. But we don't know. We can only imagine. But I like the way they allowed us to see what he's thinking. And a lot of times we have those type of images in our head, whatever it is, but we're still looking at you like this. You know what I mean? We're still looking like, but meanwhile, it's haywire up in there in the head. But and she's just smiling because he never brings it to her attention that he knows.
Right.
Only Jordan brought it. Remember, Jordan brought it and said, "Oh my God," and she was all, nonchalant. Right. But they never showed that Mia even knew that he knew. So maybe that happened later or off.
Yeah, no, you're right, because she never found out with amongst all of the things that went on. She was never told. Right. The only thing that they told her was that when it came to the wedding, that the wedding was was being delayed or whatever. But she never found out that he knew.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that time, that was when Robin and Jordan were in the room. And they were trying to work together, so Mia didn't know what was really happening, and that Lance was canceling the wedding. So that whole little awkward banter right there with Robin and Jordan, over Harper, but they both were trying to ease Mia, you know, indirectly, and they never told her what happened. So she goes out there to marry her man. And as we wind down, what happens at the reception? Right. So he finally, so much happened at the reception. So the best man speech, which was amazing and which touched Robin, and she went into the bathroom, came back. He popped the question at the wedding. So let's pause there at the reception. Now, I've heard people say, I would be pissed off if someone proposed and took my day away. I literally heard a woman say this. I would be pissed off if someone proposed to someone at my wedding when that's supposed to be my day. Would you ever do that? Would you propose at someone else's wedding?
I don't think I would do it. Yeah. Nah, I mean, because I would think that would be, you know, because that's the bride and groom's day. That has nothing to do with me. You don't want to take from celebrating, you know, from celebrating them. So we can, you know, once we leave the reception and everything like that, if you want to pick that up, then if you want to propose, then I would say do something, but not at the wedding or even at the reception. You know, to me, nah, I couldn't.
I agree. I agree, but I think that he was talking about God, and Harper started talking about God in that speech and talking about love, and he was looking at Robin, and he was looking at Lance and Mia and all the love, and I think, you know, wasn't playing. He just got caught up. You know, she was dancing with Uncle Scooter. You know, Nia Long was dancing with Uncle Scooter, and you know, and she said, "Don't touch my booty." She said, "Don't touch my booty." But she was dancing, and then they started, and she said to Harper, you know, she's the one. And when he proposed, so let's talk about the last part where everybody classically is doing the electric slide. Every black wedding, they changed the electric slide song to Cameo's Candy. So now, anytime a black person is doing the electric slide, it's to that song. That's how exciting and inspiring that movie was, because all black folks, it's like we like caught in Get Out. Like soon as the song come on, everybody start moving the same way. We like in a trance. So what you think about that scene? I loved that scene and still do to this day. And I get up and do the electric slide every time they do. And they look like they were just having a good time.
Yeah, but I think that's the realness of that particular, that song, the electric slide. What's the other one? I don't even
the
know
wobble, cha-cha slide.
You got the wobble, and then
that.
It goes dun, 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 dun,
the cha-cha slide.
No, not the electric slide.
The cha-cha slide.
Is that the cha-cha song?
I think that's it. You got the cha-cha slide. You have the Cupid shuffle.
Right.
All
right.
of them.
They did the Cupid shuffle.
I like line dancing.
they did the Cupid shuffle in Jumping the Broom. Because they did that one in that one. So there's always those.
At the Essence Festival, I got a chance to do the Cupid shuffle with the guy who does it. Like at the Essence Festival, anybody that's been to the Essence Festival, you know that the people are out there, and he was doing it. And I was like, oh, this is cool, because anytime there's a line dance, I'm getting up. So that was cool. And that movie felt like that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but that's usually when you think about it. Think about the weddings that you've gone to, and you think about, you know, and stuff like that. There's usually they usually have the DJ is usually gonna play a couple of those songs that gets everybody, you know, doing one of those dances. That song, one of those songs is gonna be played at the wedding. I promise you. You know.
Yeah.
They're gonna be played at the wedding. So I think it was a perfect song to end the movie on, you know, and you get everybody at the reception that was going to be dancing and stuff. So I think that was a great way to end it, you know.
Absolutely. And then when we did the electric slide to Candy and everyone was having a good time, and we thought the movie was over, and then you have Shelby and Quentin in the bed, realized they were drunk, passed out, and they had sex, and then they jump up, and then the credits start rolling. So that was Go ahead.
I love the part of that. And Terrence Howard goes, "Did you touch me?"
Right. And then we had to wait 30 years later for
I know, right?
Best Man Holiday movie. But I have news for everyone. So if you're tuning in, hopefully this is the first time you're hearing it. Everyone signed on to do the Best Man series. So there will be a series, the Best Man series. Now, of course, Monica Calhoun, I don't want to spoil it for you, but she won't be returning. See the Best Man Holiday to find out why. But so everyone's like, well, I don't want to see no series. I wanted to see the movie. But they're all going to do the series. All of them posted it on their social media. So what you think about that as we end?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I could have done with just that's one of those movies I think that it should have been one and done that you don't mess with.
Yeah.
And I understood they because it was so successful that they wanted to, that they wanted to try and rekindle the same energy.
And the fans want to know what happened to the
people. But I could, the series, I don't know. Because I don't know where you could go with the characters.
Yeah.
I don't know where you can go with those characters. So I'm not. I mean, I'll be interested to see it, but I'm not. So you said it's going to be a series, so it's not going to be in the movie. It's going to be in.
No, it's going to be a series. So I don't know how many episodes, but it's going to be a series. I agree with you to a certain extent, but I'm still going to watch it.
Right. I mean, and that's one of the things. Just you'll watch it just to see how they develop. I would watch it to see what they do with it and everything like that. But
absolutely,
I just think it's a tough story to kind of build off of. I mean, it's not like what's the one with Vin Diesel and all of them that franchise, or even Fridays.
Oh, Fast and Furious.
Yeah, Fast and Furious, or even Fridays, the Fridays franchise. I think Fridays was one. I think they went a couple too far with that one. Rush Hour. I think they went a little. Yeah. I think they went too far with those.
And maybe that's why they decided not to do a 3. Maybe that's why. And maybe they were like, okay, we can still work together. And think about all the lives and all the different stories you can have in episodic TV. So it might be pretty good. It might be pretty good. Let's give it a try.
Yeah, exactly. To see what they do. Keep people eating. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at them for trying to eat.
That's right. And clearly they all work well together because they used to, in between both best men, they used to get together, have meetings and talk about what if and all of that. So, sometimes when you love the people you work with, you want to work with them again. But this all right. So this was good, Leroy.
Yeah, absolutely. But you think about it too. A couple of them had worked together in several other movies because Nia Long had worked with she had worked with
Terrence. She worked with Tay. She worked with all of them actually. She worked with Sanaa. They all worked with each other. Regina Hall and Sanaa and Nia Long, and they all worked together for the most part.
Yeah, and multiple movies and stuff like that. Yeah, so Marsh Chestnut.
Movie or television, like on Empire, Nia Long was on there with Terrence Howard. They had a love affair. So
I got one for you because I know we got to go. But Morris Chestnut and Nia Long from what movie?
They did a Christmas, didn't they do?
Come on now. Don't tell me I stumped you on this one.
Wait a minute. You just, because I wasn't even thinking. Wait, Nia Long
and Morris Chestnut. They worked together on, I believe it was probably both of their first movies.
Boys in the Hood.
I think that was both of their first movies.
I was picturing what they look like now in my head. Like, was this something new? I was picturing that. But yeah, Boys in the Hood. Absolutely. And look at them now. But like we talk about, all of these actors are still working actors to this day. So they still have longevity in this business. And that was 22 years ago. That was October 26, 1999. It premiered at the movies. We've watched it over and over on VHS. DVD players, different cable outlets. So I'm glad that we're doing classic Black films to keep these movies alive. So this is episode 4. We done.
Yeah.
Were you, how so did you? And we will be back next Wednesday. So Leroy, right here on the air, I'm going to give you a choice. Do you want to do New Jack City next week or Poetic Justice?
Ooh. No, let's do New Jack City. I like that. We'll do that. I like that one better than Poetic Justice.
Okay. All right. So New Jack City. I remember my ex-husband said, my daughter said my ex-husband sat her down one time and made her watch it.
Really?
She said that they were talking one day and he was like, you didn't see New Jack City, because she sees all the movies because of me. And he was like, I'm surprised. So I remember one time it was on and he was like, you watch it. You got to watch it. But yes, New Jack City, you know, a lot of breakout stars in that movie. Yep. Yeah. A lot of breakout stars in that movie. You know, that's going to be exciting to talk about. That soundtrack was another good soundtrack.
Yeah, that soundtrack was the bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. These are all, I think every movie that we picked has been in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna move up a little bit, maybe, or maybe not. We might move up a little bit. We got a lot on this. I'm looking at my list. We got a lot of movies on this list, y'all. But Leroy, thank you as always.
This was good. This was good. Yeah, absolutely.
Would not want to do this show with anyone other than Leroy Mckenzie Jr. We love movies the same, as you can tell. You know, this is our thing. So I couldn't pick anybody else to do this with me. So everybody, make sure you follow Leroy on all social media platforms. Leroy, right there. You follow him on all social media platforms, and he is doing it big. He's about helping Black folks in business and connecting people in business. So yeah, it's a boy. It's your boy. He say, it's your boy. That's your boy.
Hold on. One more thing before we go, real quick. Hold on. Before we close out, you just had me give my information. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I want everybody to see this.
What? I'm scared.
It's good. The new issue of What's Up Baltimore. And look at who might be. I got to figure out which way to go. Looky who's. Can y'all see that? I hope I'm not messing up on the screen. Can you see that? I might have had it too close. I think it's messing up on the screen.
What's Up Baltimore? That's Leroy's new magazine.
But yours truly, she is in the magazine with her really, really well.
You're going out a little. You went out a little bit.
JNF but they can hit me up to get a copy of the magazine. And then she'll have her copy as well. Shortly from her. She'll tell everybody in them about the magazine and stuff, so you can get it. You can go. So I wanted to do that because I know you hadn't seen it yet. So I definitely wanted to see so I can get it to you.
Oh, I need my copy. All right. I don't know. Something's going on.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. I'm so honored to be in What's Up Baltimore. What's up, Baltimore? Your girl. It's your girl.
Yeah.
But thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We went over by about 7 minutes, but hopefully we still have you. If you are watching it live, thank you so much for tuning in live. Please, if you like the show and like what we're doing, make sure you subscribe, share, and like, get the word out about the show. This is episode 4. Next week, Wednesdays is our day, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be doing New Jack City, More Than Just a Movie, the classic Black film breakdown. Make sure you subscribe. Good night. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Leroy.